Hello everyone and welcome to another blog. So I've had the upgrades to my desktop in for a little while now. Been using them just over a week, and I have noticed a few things. One, I managed to get the temperature sensors working properly. I think that just needed a reboot actually, but I did rerun LM sensors, and it looks like this one is the CPU temperature, and I have noticed that behaves a little bit more how I would have expected it to compared with the old 3300X. So the CPU in there now is the AMD Ryzen 5 5600X. And when I swapped it over, maybe I got a slightly better mount because it does seem to behave a little bit more consistently. So that it looks like the thermal transfer is a bit better, basically. You can see it idles around 20, some sort of high 20s, low 30s, something like that, which seems pretty reasonable. And then even under load, it only gets to about 50, 58 to 60s, which seems a bit more what I'd expect from a sort of single loop water cooling setup, which is what it's connected to. So that seems a bit more reasonable. And there's a bunch of other sensors that don't seem to be working properly, so I could probably just hide these now actually. In fact, I'll just do that now. They might be system sensors or something, but they're not very informative, so no reason to keep them there. So even under full load, if I run a quick, I just downloaded the Passmark benchmark tool. So I just hit A. So even under full load, this is obviously a synthetic benchmark, but it's useful for testing things like temperatures. The temperature on that sensor does rise as the CPU load goes up, but it doesn't really go beyond, like I said, something around the high 50s, low 60s. So as this test runs, it should probably stay around 58. So that seems pretty good. It's obviously got a good contact between the water block and the CPU heat spreader, and it's not ramping up. So the old 3300X used to get to about 72, 71, with the fans going much louder than they are now. So I think maybe I just didn't get that mount very good, or there's something different about that chip possibly. Just let that run. The other thing that I've been thinking about with the system is it's got this memory in. It's not this exact kit. So it's got two 16 gigabyte versions of this memory. This Corsair Vengeance LPX stuff with this timing. So it's CAS20. So I originally bought the 3600 two times 16 gigabyte kit for a total of 32. And I didn't do a whole lot of research actually, and maybe I should have done, because the memory, maybe it's not the best I could have got at the time. The memory doesn't run at 3600 megahertz. The system's unstable at that speed, and the highest I've got it to run at consistently and stably is 3400, which is okay. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, but it's not the speed at which it's potentially supposed to be running at. So that's one thing. The other thing is the kit I had is no longer available, so you can't buy this memory with the same timings, and I can't get the 16 gigabyte modules anymore, either singly or as a kit. So I'm sort of left with a bit of a dilemma really as to whether I buy this and have 48 gigabytes of memory in this machine, buy nothing and just stick with 32, which might be okay for most things, or wait until it's a problem and then buy maybe 64 gig of some different memory. And I haven't really decided what to do, to be honest. I think for now I might just leave it. I don't think I will run out of memory much on this machine, and it seems fine. So running at 3400 is not a massive problem. But yeah, I should maybe have perhaps bought memory with a slower headline speed, maybe 3200 memory with better timings, but well, whatever. I'm stuck with what I've got now, so it'll do. I'm not going to upload that. You can actually see in Linux, if I scroll back up my you can see in Linux the timings that your system's using. So there's the RAM there, and you can see the speed there. So, and that's the module. These voltages I don't think they're correct. I think that when I log into the BIOS, the voltages are up 1.35, because originally I thought that might be the problem. I thought perhaps the overclock was being applied without the voltage recommended. But it looks to me in the BIOS the voltage is correct, and it's just not reporting here. Obviously that's a little bit hard to check. I suppose I could manually set the voltage somewhere and then see if it'll run at 3600, but to be honest with you, I'm just not that bothered. I'll just leave it as it is because it seems to be stable. That's the main thing I think at the minute, system stability. But yeah, that's the sort of dilemma. But I am quite pleased that you can see there that during that benchmark, the highest we hit were at 6 degrees on what I believe is the CPU. So that's fine. And you can see the temperature there. So it hovered around, probably around 50 to 50, 58 to 60. So that's pretty decent. So yeah, that's it for this machine. I have bought something that I'm quite excited about, which I'll show you. I'll show you what I've purchased. It hasn't arrived yet, and it's not due to arrive until probably April. But it's quite an exciting little thing that I'm looking forward to messing about with. And I'm also going to do some more photography-related podcasts pretty soon. I'll show you an infrared camera that I've had for a while that's pretty cool, and some of the pictures out of it as well. Okay, so until next time, that's enough from me. See you later.